If you've ever been to the Balkans, you've most likely seen places like this. Betting houses. Amongst the diet of meat, raw onions, and accustomed to start a war every couple of years that results in the deaths of tens of millions, betting houses are yet another staple of Balkan culture, which can be virtually found in almost every country in the region. If you drive through any major city such as Bucharest or Belgrade, you will see colorful billboards advertising companies such as Balkan Bet and Mozart, and physical locations won't be too far from you at any point in time. In Romania alone, in 2015, profits from gambling were estimated to be 266 million euros, which was almost double that of the previous year, which estimated the earnings to be at around 144 million euros. As a whole, today the industry in the country alone is estimated to be worth between 10 to 12 billion euros. Meanwhile, in the neighboring Serbia, projected revenue from online gambling alone is estimated to reach 130 million euros this year. So, what is going on? Why is gambling so big here, and what are the consequences of it on Balkan society? The situation we find ourselves in started all the way back in the 90s. Prior to this point, most of the Balkans were under the grasp of communism. Under this economic system, the majority of the population were significantly less wealthy than their Western European counterparts, and the standard of living was even lower. I know, shocking, communism didn't work. Who'd have thunk? Nevertheless, as socialism collapsed, the Balkans started to transition into a free market economy. However, if you happen to live here during this time period, you're well aware that this transition wasn't the smoothest. Many of the government institutions collapsed, the law became more of a suggestion rather than a command, poverty rose even higher, and if you happen to live in the Western Balkans, with anarchy taking over and there being a severe lack of regulation, many Western gambling operators saw this as a new opportunity. As such, over the next decade, casinos, sports and electronic betting houses started to spring up rapidly throughout the region. According to the Romanian National Gaming Office, there are over 12,000 registered gambling venues in the country. Meanwhile, in Serbia, there are around 2,400, and in Bosnia, there are well over 9.5 thousand gambling shops all over the country, which is especially concerning considering Romania has almost 6 times the population of the country, and even there, the number of gambling venues is high. Today, gambling in the Balkans is one of the biggest elephants in the room, as it has become an overwhelming problem impacting society as a whole, yet very little is talked about it. In Romania, it is estimated that around 12% of the population gamble annually, which makes around 2.4 million people. From 2015's data, it was calculated that out of those, there are over 100,000 people in Romania who have a serious gambling problem. However, no studies have been conducted in Romania since that year, so the number of problematic gamblers is very likely to be even greater. In Serbia, these figures are much higher. It was reported that around 31.4% of the population gambled in the last year, while over 17% gambled in the last month. It is also estimated that there are over 50,000 people with a gambling problem in Bosnia, and that the average Bosnian loses 1 month's salary, which would be around 667 euros annually gambling.
Jebi ga. Voćkice mi život upropastile.
Note that the average salary presented here is the official average presented by the government. The real average is actually lower, which makes the loss even more impactful. What's even more concerning is the age of these gamblers. The average age of a serious gambler is between 23 and 24 years. However, a lot of them start from an even younger age. Many Balkaners started gambling at the age of 13 and 14. Growing up in Serbia, it was not uncommon to see my peers go to a betting house during recess and use their lunch money, which was usually in the amount of 200 to 300 dinars, to go and buy a sports betting ticket. And although by law these businesses cannot serve minors, more often than not they still do, and if they're refused service, they would just stand outside of one and ask a passerby to go inside and place the bet for them, a practice that's still prevalent today. Even while I was living in Belgrade throughout the early 2020s, in my neighborhood I'd often be asked by kids to go and place a bet for them while coming back from university. Of course, I never did, but there are plenty of people that do. In a research piece conducted by the Save the Children Foundation, it was found that approximately 1 in 7 children children in Romania gamble, and that 1 out of 10 kids live in a family where one of the parents gambles. So it's without a doubt safe to say that gambling is an enormous problem. As a whole, there are several factors that contribute to such high rates in the Balkans. One of the first, and arguably most major ones, is poverty. High rates of gambling are prevalent in populations with lower earnings and higher rates of poverty, as gambling triggers adrenaline and dopamine in the prospects of potentially allowing someone to earn large sums of money from just investing a couple of euros. This effect is multiplied with people in a worse economic situation.
Laže. 27 sigurno.
27 je igrala pička.
Teška vremena, prijatelju moj, đavo ih odnio.
Da ste ti i đavo na beri našli da se vadite, jel?
Ajde dečaci, ako se svađate neće nijedan da padne.
The issue is exacerbated even more due to still lax regulation in the industry and aggressive marketing that could be argued is directed towards children. Alongside with billboards plastered all over the city promoting a betting house, if you turn on the TV, it won't take long for you to see a commercial for a casino or online gambling house or website. Furthermore, local celebrities such as musicians, internet personalities, and athletes are often paid by the gambling industry to promote their business. Thus, children seeing their idols promote such places can be extremely influential in them walking through the door of a casino. We've also seen this outside of the Balkans when English-speaking YouTubers promoted a variety of online gambling sites, including ones that dealt with video games such as Counter-Strike to their underage audiences, and the absolute scandals that came from that. But despite gambling still being at an all-time high in the Balkans, the situation is not hopeless. In both Romania and Serbia, around 40% of the profits from gambling goes to legal charities. In Serbia, the government also mandated a law that betting house employees must be educated in the signs of gambling addiction. Recently, Romania has also announced that it will tighten regulation in this industry. The country announced that there will be a ban on all gambling venues in settlements with a population under 15,000. This year as well, a bill was submitted in Bulgaria that would ban gambling advertisements online, on TV, radio, print media, and on buildings. Similarly to Romania's law, it will seek to ban slot machines in towns with a population less than 5,000. So yeah, although gambling can be fun and harmless in certain situations, in the Balkans it more often than not is anything but. So hopefully with this video I've raised your awareness a bit regarding the issue. And if you're someone that is struggling with this issue, don't be afraid to reach out and seek help. Anyways, my name is Janos and you've watched Living Ironically in Europe.